is, right? That's a property that we've never been to before, together, I mean. The Rio All Suites Hotel, Casino, Shops, Pool, Spa, Resorts property. You know what brings us here. World Series of Poker, day number 1. Officially kicks off today. Actually, I don't know if that's true. Yesterday might have been the first day that they opened their doors. I know they had the cash games and deep stacks, I think. Deep stacks tournaments, the daily tournaments that they run every single day. But today is the first bracelet event. First 2, actually. First one is the casino employees event. Second one is the 10K tag team event. No tournaments for me today. I don't have $10,000 to blow on a non-main event tournament, so no tag team event for me. No casino employee event for me either, for obvious reasons, and that leaves cash games. I'm gonna go check out the cash games, but before we do that, we're just gonna walk around. We're gonna soak it all in. World Series of Poker 2017 starts now, so let's just go in there and take a tour, see what there is to see. Let's go. This used to be the valet entrance. No more this year. No more valet for you guys. I've done away with the valet this year. What's up?
Watch your videos. I watch your vlog all the time.
Cool, man. Appreciate
Love it.
Good to meet you. All right, here we are. The inner sanctum, sort of, in the hallways. So I think the plan is we're just gonna do a quick walkthrough. We'll just cruise on down the hall, take it all in for a little bit here, and then pop into each room, see what there is to see. Look who it is.
Oh. On the vlog, wow.
Here we are. The World Series of Poker. Are you excited?
I'm really excited. I just registered for my first bracelet events of my life.
Which one are you playing? Boston?
I'm actually flying out of town tonight, but I'm
You are?
coming back for the Monster Stack and then staying through the main if I don't go broke.
Good for you. So in here, this room right here, this says Amazon.
Where, up there? Is that up there?
Scared the crap out of me.
Hello everybody.
Look at this guy.
Look at that, huh?
Oh,
Clean
yeah.
shaven and everything.
All fresh for
I'm
the
gonna
World
shave
Series.
after every bracelet.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
plan. After every win, we're gonna shave. So if I have a long curly beard, that's a bad thing. Good to meet you, man.
You as well.
Cheers.
You on break now?
Yeah, I'm going to go chill. I got David playing for me for a bit.
All right, cool.
All right.
Good luck in there.
Cheers.
Good meeting you, man. What do you know? World Series, standing on the ground. So as I was saying, the Amazon room, where Daniel just came out of, that's the tournament room. That's where the feature table is, and all the fancy camera gear, all that fun stuff is going on in there. So let's pop in there, see what other superstar, famous poker players there are to see. Let's go. So this goes to show how much I've been paying attention, but the TV stage is not in this room anymore. And to be honest, I'm not sure where exactly it is. I don't think it's in the pavilion room, so maybe it's in the Brasilia room. Is that what it's called? I think it's Brasilia. Anyway, this is where it used to be. Those 2 tournaments going on. The casino employees event is going on right now, and the 10K tag team event. By the way, I misspoke. You don't need to put up 10,000 a person, you only need to put up 10,000 a team. However, I don't exactly have $5,000 to, you know what I mean, whatever. All these tables back here, that's the casino employees event. First place in that thing is like 68,000. There's like 77 people left, started from 600 something. And over here is the 10K tag team event. so moving on, still in hunt for the feature table, TV table, all that stuff. Let's move over to the Brasilia room, shall we? Further change of plan. I think the TV table is in there, but I also think, judging by this closed locked door, that the room is locked and not open to the public at the moment. So just another fail on my part. Just gonna keep moving on to this. Let's go right across the hall over here. This used to be what they called the poker kitchen, full of just absolutely delicious items for purchase for your eating pleasure. Actually wasn't that good as far as food goes, but not too sure what's going on in there now. I think they added a bunch of poker tables this year in that room. Let's go find out. Some sort of satellite event, mega thing going on in there. More tournament action, no more poker kitchen, just poker. Last room for us to check out, the pavilion room. That's where all the cash games can be found, plus like some satellites and some daily deep stack tournaments. So let's go. All right, so this area is another new thing, completely new, haven't seen this before. I think this is the Kings branded section of the cash game area. Looks pretty cool. This is where they're gonna have high stakes cash games going, I assume 24 hours a day. Pretty sharp. All right, now we're gonna walk into the main section of where the cash games are. All right, so I'm gonna go check out the cash game lists and just kind of get a good sense of the games, see how they look here in the pavilion room. This is what's running so far at the moment, although I don't think this list is exactly accurate because they have 2-5 limits, they have 2-5 no limit hold'em listed, and they have 5-5 hold'em listed, but there's no 1-2-5 PLO listed, which I know is running because Zach said he's playing that right now. So there's only one way to apparently find out what's actually running. There's like 2 different sections of games running, so I'm gonna have to go investigate, see what's what.
There you go. 2-5.
All right, so there's one table of 5-10 no limit going. So I'm gonna go check out the PLO, which I think there's like 3 or 4 tables of 1-2-5 PLO going. So that's the play against the better advice of some of you guys. I know you guys love it when I play PLO. Let's go check it out though.
Hey, bud.
All right, 1-2-5, $1, $2, $5 bring in, pot limit Omaha, 500 max. See what happens. All right, so very short session there. There's a few things, there's a few kinks that usually need to be worked out in these first couple of days of the WSOP. Nothing major, of course. Just, it's a little bit slow in the cash games in the first couple of days. There are some dealers in the games that it's not really their specialty. They might be new to dealing completely. So it's a little bit tough to play in the PLO games when the dealer is dealing one of his or her very first downs ever. Not exactly the quickest game, so the game was just mediocre anyway, so No real reason to stick around here. I'm going to be spending plenty of time over here in the coming weeks during the summertime. Let's go check out another spot. The usual spot. Forgot to mention that we lost $45 in the PLO at the Rio. We'll definitely be back for revenge later on. All right, chilling here in the overflow section in the sports book. All these tables are going to be in use during the summertime, especially this weekend when the Colossus madness is going on. Not enough tables in the poker room. Have to add some extra ones in the sports book. Nice and quiet spot back here. Perfect spot for us to go over some hands. So we're just gonna cruise through these pretty quickly, I think, because I have a bunch of them for you guys this time. I know how much you guys love the hand histories. Can't get enough hands, right? So let's just get into it. Let's dive into it, shall we? All right, so in the first hand, there's a middle position open to 40. I call with pocket nines on the button, and the big blind joins us for a little three-way flop, which comes queen 10 for rainbow. The action checks over to me with a under pair here. I just decide to check it back. Turn doesn't change too much, and offsuit 6. The big blind checks again. This time the middle position player puts out a bet, and he bets $70. I think it's reasonable to fold and reasonable to call as well. It doesn't seem like he's that strong, but I suspect he could certainly play a 10 like this. Pocket nines seems like it's obviously middle of the road for us. We could certainly have worse hands here. We could definitely have better hands. We could also have a 10 ourselves. That's possibly about it. So maybe towards the upper section of the middling part of our range. So I decided to peel once and kind of see what happens on the river. Big blind folds, so heads up to a river card of a 9. So we make a set on the river. This time my opponent bets $160. It seems like we almost always have the best hand here, because I would expect my opponent to be betting with a king jack on the flop. I also expect him to be betting his flop sets pretty frequently, but with a straight out there, with a small chance that we could be value towning ourselves a little bit, and my opponent being not exactly the most reckless player there is, fairly conservative, I just decided on a flat call. It could be a little bit too cautious, but I don't think it's that terrible. Anyway, he just mucks it. He just mucks it right away. He doesn't even show his hand. So I don't know, maybe not the most conservative player there is, but I don't know. Could certainly be worth a small raise there. But on the other hand, it could just be over-repping our hand too much, having one or two straights available on the river. In this next hand, there's a middle position open to 30. There's 2 calls, and we look down at pocket aces in the big blind. Obviously 3-bet spot. I decide on a sizing of $180. The initial raiser calls, and the other 2 players fold. So heads up to a flop. Flop comes 9-5 deuce with 2 diamonds. I decide on a c-bet size of $210. My opponent folds pretty quickly. We win a small pot this time with the pocket aces. I think I could have sized a little bit smaller on the flop, because I might go with a smaller sizing with some of my squeeze type holdings, or with an ace king or ace queen or king queen offsuit, something like that. I might size a little bit smaller as a c-bet with those hands, but with this particular player, I've never seen him before, and I don't think he is taking these various things into consideration, such as sizings, c-bet sizings, and staying balanced between my value bets and bluffs. So decided to go a little bit bigger than I might normally, but not drastically so. But regardless, no more action on this this round with the pocket aces. In this next hand, the button opens for 40. Small blind folds, and we look down at ace 4 of hearts. Seems like a classic defend. I think there's a case to be made for 3-betting with ace blocker, suited ace. Seems reasonable as a 3-bet, but I just decided to flat call and play post flop. Flop comes 5-4-3 with 2 clubs and 1 heart. I check it over to him and he puts out a c-bet of $50. Can't go anywhere with middle pair, top kicker, and a gut shot. So make a standard call here. Turn is a good card. Turn is another 4. I check it over to him, and this time he bets $110. He doesn't have very much. He's a little bit short here. He's got maybe, I think he's got $550 total. I think a raise is in order. I don't want any cards that could kill action to come off on the river, and I don't want him to check back with 1 pair on the river. So I think a raise is in order, but I don't have to make it that big in order to be able to get all the money in by the river. So I put in a raise to $260. My opponent pretty much snap jams all in. So not much choice here. Happy to just call it off in this spot for this amount of money, which I do. I call it off. River's an offsuit 7, so puts forward to a straight up there. He doesn't flip his hand over right away. He seems to not show too much interest in showing his hand. So, as per usual, when I'm against a recreational player, I show my hand, and then he goes ahead and shows us 5-6. So he rivers a straight. That's a little unfortunate. Kind of unlucky there. I guess we got lucky on the turn and unlucky on the river. Most of the money went in on the turn, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And you also get slow rolled, I guess, apparently sometimes. Oh well, on to the next hand. All right, switched up the location slightly away from those tables where there's now some vacuuming happening, all in preparation for the big weekend. Moving on. In this next hand, the aforementioned player from the previous hand limps in. I look down at 7-4 of clubs for a very gapped connector suited. Not exactly the most connected and playable hand, not exactly the best hand you could find, but I'm looking to play some pots with this player. So I go ahead and raise it to 40 and try to ISO him. He makes the call. So we get what we want and we go heads up to a flop of ace 4 deuce with 1 club. He checks it to me. I'm gonna check back with 2nd pair here. I think you maybe make a case for betting because folding out their equity with the overcards, hands like king, queen, it's a decent result, but I decided to check it back, play a little pot control. Turn is an 8 of clubs, brings a backdoor flush draw in. This time he leads out and he bets $40. Obviously not going anywhere, so I make the call. River's an offsuit king. This time he bets $70. Very close. Price is very good. Don't expect him to be betting here with a king or an 8. So it seems like an ace or nothing for that price. And against this particular player, I just tossed in the call. And good news is that he just goes ahead and mucks his hand. So another win without any sort of showdown, even after a river call, and happily take this one down. In this next hand, there is an early middle position raise to $40. I look down at King Jack offsuit in the hijack position. Pretty borderline between folding and 3-betting, I think. I think calling kind of sucks because it's just not that good of a hand. I'd rather turn it into a bluff, blocking some stronger hands, or just fold it. I decide on the 3-bet. I decide to make it $130. Folds back to the initial raiser who asks how much I have. The total is around, I think, 1,200. I think I've lost a couple hundred here in this spot. After that, he goes ahead and makes the call. So heads up to a flop of 10-5-3 with 2 diamonds. He checks it over to me. Sometimes I'll check back with king high, but I think on this particular flop, I kind of like a bet. So I go ahead and I bet 150. He thinks for a little bit and he makes the call. Turn seems like a good card, offsuit king. He checks it over to me. And since it's fairly weak king, fairly weak top pair, I could have better kings here. I could have better holdings here in general. I just decided to check it back, play a little pot control once again. River comes the 3 of diamonds, so pairs the board and brings the 3rd diamond in. He checks it over to me, and once again, it's one of those spots where I could certainly see a bet, and I think checking has merit as well. I think if the river card wasn't the 3rd diamond, it might make a little bit more sense to bet it. I think being the 3rd diamond, it kind of lessens the likelihood that we can get called by a worse hand, somewhat. I think I have a little bit of a middling of the road type hands, middle of my range. I can definitely have better kings. I can have some better hands here for sure. So I decide to, once again, play it a little bit safe. I just check it back, take a low variance route. He rolls over 10-9 of hearts. So he has a hand where it's possible that he could perhaps make a hero call. Maybe put us on like an ace-queen type of a hand. If we size it on the small end, maybe we can get called there. So I don't know. I might be missing a little bit of value here, but I think there's merit to both betting or checking back. Last interesting hand of the evening. I look down at pocket kings from under the gun +1. Make a standard raise to 30. The player next to act calls, and the hijack puts in a 3-bet. Makes it $150 to go. Pretty good situation, I think, developing. I had just shown down that king-jack hand. I don't know if he was paying attention or not. It's possible, but maybe not. In this hand, I started with about 13 or 1350 total. So I go ahead and make a 4-bet to $380. Player on my left folds back to the 3-better who thinks for some time. And then he jams, settles on a jam. He has me covered. Not too much thought is going to go into this one. I just go ahead and call it off. If he happens to have pocket aces, it's a little bit of a cooler. I had just 3-bet a hand recently. Again, I don't know if he was paying attention, but there are certainly some hands in his range that we beat. So I pretty much snap called off, and board runs out pretty ragged. My opponent is first to show since he jammed all in, and he chose ace-king. So very good news. This one's going to get me out of the hole. I was down somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 or $600 at this point. Go from being down $600 to up $500 or $600. So pretty good situation. A little bit of a cooler for him. That's probably not the only thing that he found unfortunate about this hand. The other thing is that this gentleman who had the ace-king happens to be a good friend of Brad Owen, who you might remember is a fellow vlogger here in Las Vegas. This gentleman with the ace-king let Brad know that his table was a good one. Brad then let me know. I took Brad's advice, switched to that table where Brad's friend was playing, and then proceeded to run kings into his ace-king and get the full double through Brad's friend. Sorry about that, buddy. I'm not going to mention him by name in this video. I'll spare him that piece of info, but it's Brad's fault. It's all Brad Owen's fault. It's all Brad's fault. All right, wrapping up the session. Right now it's slightly later than I would prefer. It is about 20 after 2 in the morning. I'm trying to stay on that pretty nice daytime sleep schedule, but this is a little bit later than I would like to be heading out of here and heading to bed, but not obscenely so. Obviously could be much worse. I'm gonna head out of here and hit the sack as soon as possible because we got a tournament to play this weekend. Fun day. We stopped by the World Series of Poker. We met a poker superstar celebrity, got all the way unstuck, and we ended up booking a win. $678, I believe, was the number. So we book a win on day number 1 of the World Series. Obviously just stuck to the cash games. Next vlog, tournament vlog. See you guys back at the World Series.